I remember this young guy, full of enthusiasm. I guess he'd been working for WRTI for at least 4 years, maybe 6, because he was a graduate student at the time. You know, the dark glasses, you know, the heavy rims and everything like this, and very much the broadcast person.
I met Kenn in the 90s when I was just starting out. I worked at WTVH in Syracuse, and Kenn was our consultant. He was talking about degree days before anyone was talking about them. Kenn didn't just know news. He knew sports, he knew weather, because early in his career he did it all.
New York Jets quarterback Joe Namath will be sidelined for 6 to 8 weeks. He suffered a slight separation of his right shoulder in the first quarter of the Jets game against the Colts in Baltimore.
When I pop a tape in or pop a DVD in, the first thing I'm looking at is, do I understand what they're saying? Not just in their voice, but do their words make sense? And that's, you know, that came from Kenn also.
I've often wondered whether being an actor might be easier than being a news reporter. I haven't found out yet, but I'm about to, thanks to Rob and Dale. This is Kenn Venit, Action News in Hamden.
And he taught me the human zoom, if Kenn remembers this. And you'll see me do this a lot on the news. I'm talking to you, the viewer, and I'll actually step forward to make a point and then step back. And it's very impactful.
Well, I want to thank Kenn for my look these days, because I figured I'd follow his footsteps and go to be a consultant where on a Friday I could wear shorts, wouldn't have to show up in an office, nobody would really care.
Kenn has great hair, and it doesn't move. It's perfect in all weather.
You either have it or you don't, and he doesn't seem to have lost very much. It may have changed a little bit in color over the years, but then you wear that like a badge of honor.
He's ageless. He looks the same now as he did when I knew him in the beginning 20 years ago.
Kenn is never about himself. Kenn is always about everybody else.
I wouldn't be where I am today in my career, almost 20 years, if it weren't for Kenn Venit.
He's doing what he should have done. Take all of his life experiences, all of his enthusiasm for the craft of journalism, his intellect, his love of people, especially young people who are in journalism or want to be in journalism, and go back into the classroom, sit on the other side of the desk.
I would go to RTNDA or RTDNA or what it was called at the appropriate time, and I would always see Kenn there. And Kenn would say hi, but the second question was, are you going to the dinner? Well, if you're not going to the dinner, I need the tickets. I have a bunch of students here. I really want to get my students there.
And it's another way of him broadening his footprint on future generations by sharing what he knows, getting people to be their best, perhaps even wanting them to be better than he is.